So back in the day when I became a firefighter, less than 1% of career firefighters were female. And I was one of them. The way I became a firefighter is a story that annoys a lot of people because it seemed pretty seamless. I was very fortunate. I still believe that my guardian angels were watching over me. I just had a little baby. I was 21 years old, just had a little baby, and my boyfriend at the time wanted to become a firefighter. And he was on the mailing list. And I was going to college and working and not really knowing what direction I wanted to go in. And so he got a notice that Orange County Fire Department was hiring, and that was his dream. And so he decided to go down. They hand out 3,000 applications every 5 years or so, and you had to wait in line because the first 3,000 people got them, and then no more applications. So oh my gosh, 2 in the morning, he's getting ready to go stand in line at Angel Stadium in Orange County. And I decide that, you know what, I'm gonna go with you because I wanna support you and I wanna go and be there with you so you don't have to sit there by yourself all night. So I pack up the baby and the 3 of us go down to Angel Stadium and we're waiting, and she was 3 months old at the time, so I was still nursing her, teeny little thing. And as we're waiting in line, we're talking to different guys, and I'm thinking, this might be kind of fun. I'm active, I'm outdoorsy, I'm going to school to get my finance and marketing degree, which is like totally boring to me, but I have I have a good brain for it, so I figured that would be a good way to go. Anyway, while we're waiting over the 8 hours, I decided I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to get me an application and I'm going to see what I can do. So we go through the line, long night, like I said. All the guys are ribbing me and laughing and saying, you're getting an application for the baby because it's going to take 18 years for her to get there. And I get an application and we go have breakfast and come home, and the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking, I think I want to be a fireman. Like, you get to, put out fires and drive around in a red truck with the lights and sirens, and how fun would that be? So I'm still going to school, I'm still being a new mommy, and I add on a weightlifting class because I used to weightlift, and I figured I better get strong for this. So I get on weightlifting class, and then I start talking to guys at fire stations, and still do not have a clue anything about this. Well, before the first test came up, my boyfriend was working at UPS and had a really bad low back injury. So bad, in fact, he had to quit working and had to be retrained for another job. So the day that our test came up for the written test, it was down at Santiago. Well, actually back then it was Rancho Santa Ana College. And I went down along with, hundreds of other people, took this test, and it was a long test, and it was basic math, English, gears, just general ed type stuff. And so I took the test not really knowing. I was told the top 10% would get called and you'd move on to the next test. So you go home, you wait, you go on with life. Well, I get a letter saying, congratulations, you were in the top 10%. We'd like you to come back for another test. This was the oral. It was oral and more like writing memos and just 3 different things that were kind of odd. So I was like, okay. Oh, and having to stand up and give a speech, which terrified me. Because back then I was really shy and quiet, if you didn't know me. So I get, there's really nothing to prepare. I go, I show up on the day, I'm dressed all nice, and they have me run through 3 different tasks. Did the memo and the filing, easy breezy. I'd worked as a secretary for a while. The speech was very scary because they handed me a piece of paper, and my speech was I had to give a speech on the importance of smoke detectors, to a PTA. I didn't know any of this stuff, so I'm like, okay, so I go in there and I have like a 5-minute speech to give. I remember my knees were knocking. I probably started to cry a few times. And there's these 5 guys, behind a table all stern, and I was just, beyond overwhelmed. So I leave there and I'm thinking, yeah, they're not gonna want me. I'm ridiculous. Lo and behold, I get a letter saying, yes, you were in the top 10%. How sad is that? And we want you to come back for the physical agility. Okay, so I'm, practicing for the physical agility, and I'm thinking, I'm hitting the weights hard, but I'm not anywhere near pre-pregnancy strength. And there's no way I can do this agility. I've never put on turnouts. I've never touched a fire hose. I've never touched a ladder. I have no idea. So I contact, whoever's name was on the paper and told them, look, I just had a baby. I'm still trying to get ready. And they said, well, if you want, we can put you off for the next academy, but, no guarantee that, we're going to be having it in the near future. And so I thought about it and I thought, you know what, I'm going to wait, because if I'm going to do this, I want to be in the best shape so I can give it my best go. So I tell them I'll take the chance and wait. In the meantime, my daughter's dad and I were having a really tough time, a lot of arguments, a lot of fighting, and I was actually thinking of packing up and moving back to Canada where my mom was. And about the same time, I get a letter inviting me to the next fire agility test, and I decide, you know what, okay, I'm gonna try it. If I do well, I stay. If I don't do well, I'm packing up a U-Haul and I'm going back to Canada, because I can't do this. So I go there and I have no idea, right? I walk in and there's all these people, and they're putting turnouts on me, and I remember the pants were too big. I was really skinny back in the day. The pants were too big, the jacket was heavy, the gloves didn't fit, the helmet kept falling over on my face. So I'd look around and it was in my eyes. They didn't have any boots that fit me, and I've got big feet for a girl, but they still didn't have any boots that fit me. There was a gal ahead of me that was taking the test, and they said, well, look, when she's done, we'll give you her boots. So I said, okay. So I'm talking to this girl, and I've got my dad and my boyfriend and the baby are there. And, little baby Randy is crawling around, out on the cement at the tower, and, getting a lot of chuckles. And I'm talking to this gal, and she, had her fire science degree. She was a volunteer firefighter. She was probably my height, 5'10", but much, beefier. And, she gave me a few little hints and tips about stuff. So off she goes to do her test. Well, she fails at the first evolution. And the first evolution is raising a 24-foot ladder, not throwing it, but just with the rope, raising it up to the top, holding it, and then bringing it back down in a controlled manner. She fails it. I'm standing there thinking, well, shit, I don't have a clue. If this gal fails it, I'm screwed. This isn't going to happen. So she comes over, it's all sad, and she gives me the boots, and I go over and they explain what they want me to do. Again, I'm just way out of my zone. Clock starts, horn sounds, off I go. I raise that ladder. I didn't know, to put my legs and my weight into it. I didn't know, so I totally strong-armed it, got it up, brought it down. Then you have to go pick up a bundle of hose, 1.5-inch hose, throw it over your shoulder, climb up to the truck, climb up the ladder to the 5th floor, and bring the bundle down, well, I remember doing this, and the helmet kept falling in my face. The boots were too big. They kept, every step I took, my foot was coming out of it. They had one little rope around my waist from the top in case I fell off, to save me, I guess. I don't know. My foot got tangled up in that rope. I almost fell off that ladder at least twice. I was so scared. There was nothing to save me. I didn't. I kept going. I got up there. I threw the bundle over the roof. It's like, okay, am I done yet? They're like, no. Now you have to take a rolled hose, and they had a square at the top, and you have to hand over hand bring the hose up to the 5th floor of the tower. You cannot step outside of this box. Okay. I mean, I think they spent more time explaining the stuff to me than what I actually did to do it. So I get in there and I'm, pulling it up. It's much more difficult than it sounds. Somehow I'm able to get it up and over the ledge and not step out of the box. So, I'm at this point, I think it's quite hot. I'm feeling a little delirious. So I remember them grabbing me, turning me around, and there's a dummy, Rescue Randy, and I believe he's 150 pounds, and it's dead weight. So I'm 125 pounds at this point. So this, guy weighs more than I do. And I have to somehow get him downstairs, out of the building, or the tower. So most of the guys would throw him over their shoulder and hunker him down. I'm exhausted. I'm just like, oh my God, Randy, work with me. And I pick him up, and I'm walking him backwards, and I'm going down the steps backwards, and every time we turned, I remember his foot would get stuck in the rail, and I'd have to drop him, go down, pull his feet out. It just felt like forever going down those things, and I just, not even thinking, just let the guys, cheer me on, or help me out, whatever. I'm like, you got this, Michelle, you got this, you can do it. Finally, after going through all of these turns, I walk out, and there's sunshine, and my helmet is like literally covering my whole face because, I'm just down, just pulling them. I get out, and I'm just like, oh my God, am I done yet? And they're like, no, last evolution. Take a sledgehammer and a big, 1 foot by 1 foot log, and you have to take the sledgehammer and over your head hit the damn thing 50 times. And so it's like, oh my God, okay, whatever. I grab it, I'm doing it, I'm like totally flagging. I was so tired. My dad actually videotaped this whole process that he could. And at some point, I remember thinking, fuck this, man. I am tired. I am done. This stupid helmet is like in my face. It's more of a mask. Everything's falling off of me. I just want to be done. And I just went pow, 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 went into super energy mode. And it's funny in the video, you can see me like the last 30, I just start going at it like it's a hammer. Hit my 50th. I'm not even counting. I'm just letting the guys, tell me when it's over. I finally hear, done, and the beep, and I throw the sledgehammer and I walk away, and they're like, no, we have to get your blood pressure. And I remember them grabbing me and sitting me on the back of a truck, and they literally had to help me get the turnouts off. I didn't know, I had no clue. They get my blood pressure, I'm cooling down, and the guy comes up and says, you passed. And I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, you did under 7 minutes. You're in. Congratulations. So I'm like, oh my God. Okay, cool. So fun fact, later when I was in the academy, part of going through the academy, we had to go back to the tower and back to doing the 7 evolution agility test. Again, even though we were all in the academy, we'd all, been hired on, we had to pass this thing again. If we didn't pass, we're out of the academy. But this time I have my turnouts, they fit me, I know what I'm doing, I've done all of this stuff, and I actually shaved a minute and a half off of my time. So I had it done in, I think it was 5 minutes, 22 seconds or something. And actually I was one of the better scores. So it was like, yay, I was so excited. It shows you the difference though between having your own turnouts and knowing what you're doing compared to not knowing what you're doing and wearing, ill-fitting turnouts. So, okay, so we get through all of that. I'm all excited. I get another letter, come in, do background check, FBI check, fingerprints, credit check. They do want to know your credit. How to do a polygraph, asking about drugs and drinking and felonies, all that kind of stuff. So I'm probably pushing 22 years old at this point, and I just had a baby, so I'm like really clean and looking, really good. I had been going to school. I was very good with my money. So everything that I had done up to that point actually helped me. It wasn't much of a history because I was so young, but what I had showed, that I'm a responsible person. So then I get the letter saying, congratulations, you've passed all the tests. We, want to hire you. We might invite you to Orange County Fire Department Academy 15. And on my daughter's first birthday, January 28th, 1990, we actually met for orientation prior to going into the academy. And a couple weeks later, we started the academy. It was, oh my God, it was so hard. I honestly didn't know what I was doing. The first month, I came close to quitting because I was so overwhelmed. I had all the book studying to learn. I had no idea how much firemen had to know. It's like, holy crud. So when I graduated, this is me, 22 years old, getting my badge. I was so proud. And that was Captain Mark Kramer. He was our academy captain. He later became, I think he's a division chief. Anyway, great guy. And we got Larry Holmes was our chief at the time. And Chief Bill Keene, really nice guy. That was me back in the day. So there you go. Moral of the story is that, you know what, if this is your passion, if anything is your passion, go for it. You can do it. People are like, oh, you got the job because you're a girl. It's like, well, no, I got the job because I was able to pass all the tests. And, being a girl helped, on the end zone, basically. They have, pick the 100 top people that pass the tests, and then they put in, your schooling. I had my AA at the time, male, female, your race, Caucasian, Hispanic, Black, Asian. Then that's when you start getting those points if you speak Spanish or second language. But first you have to get to that 100. And then it goes. So look, if you're interested in becoming a firefighter, do everything you can to bump up your background and get the knowledge, but don't let anybody stop you because you really don't know. If it's meant to be, it's going to happen. Good luck to y'all. Bye.